Huddersfield's German defender Christopher Schindler has unbearable responsibility on his shoulders. Right-footed Schindler scores the goal that fires Huddersfield into the Premier League.
What I saw about Karlan Grant's touch then, his touch, his turn, that little bit of pace to get away from the defender.
Wander through these streets you keep.
Get up.
I was lost, but now.
Another piece of individual brilliance from Karlan Grant.
Dark undone.
Never in doubt. Side foot, thank you very much. Back of the net.
Love someone, oh girl.
I love the one that scored.
And I could swear my.
Let's hope it's the winning goal. Please be the winning goal. You cannot allow Karlan Grant to come back on his right foot on that side of the 18-yard box. There's only one thing that happens. And I'd like to say, I think that's the 3 points.
Okay, so as usual, this episode is sponsored by Magic Rock Brewing. Sadly, at the moment, Magic Rock is closed due to the coronavirus outbreak, but the Welcome Centre, who are very close to what Magic Rock do, are still open, and if you've got a little bit of spare money hanging around at the minute, they are taking a couple of donations for people who are struggling at the moment. So have a check of the HTSA website and social media, as well as the Cowshed Loyal, and if you can help out, that'd be fantastic, and hopefully we'll come out of this quite soon. Welcome back to part 2 of the Andy Takes That Chance podcast interview with Matt Glennon. From here, we'll pick up where Matt starts to talk about how the job at Radio Leeds came up for him. Tell us about, we'll move on to Radio Leeds, and it was 16-17, was it, the first season that you did? Was that right?
I did one game in Wagner's first year. It was Birmingham at home. Obviously, I knew Oggy well anyway, because Oggy would always pull me out when I played for town, because he knew that I'd say something that he could use on the radio. And then, he invited me for that season, promotion season, which was just absolutely amazing. My first year in the radio. Next thing you know, you're at Wembley watching Huddersfield getting promoted into the Premier League. It was just superb, and it's just snowballed since then. Obviously, now culminating in my Monday night show.
You must have felt like a lucky charm at that point, as Town are pretty much never higher than 17th in the Championship, and all of a sudden you come in and top of the league for a while, top 3, and then promoted through the playoffs. It must have been an amazing thing to do. And to be honest with you, I think the vast majority of Huddersfield Town fans like what you say on Radio Leeds. And there's been a couple of things, I think, over the past that you may have had the majority disagreeing you with. And one person that used to cause a bit of a ruckus was Rajiv Van La Parra. I think a lot of people would want to know what he did to upset you so much.
I don't like people who play at the highest level who can't do the basic things, and that's it. I did work hard in my thing. I wasn't as talented. I wasted the early years of my career. Like I told you, went to Hull. I put too much weight on. I got injured. Never really recovered from that. I ended up playing. I did a half decent career. But when you've got lads who fit, strong, they've got it in them, and they pick the wrong pass 3 times out of 5. They refuse to put the cross into the box when you've got Steve Mounier, who's one of the best leaps in the league. It was just frustration every week, and just not utilising the talent, and also at times switch off. You know what I mean? Like Daya Carby. I remember saying to Jamie Rayner at QPR where we sit, you have to look over to the pitch. You can't actually see the bottom of the pitch. You have to look over it. And I said to him, watch him, and he's up looking at the birdies in the sky, and look at that nice, look at that big building, we're in London. And you're thinking, no, you've got to be switched on. This is Championship, Premier League football. Every game needs to be like it's your last game, and you need to basically do your job. And Van La Parra, for me, was so inconsistent, but he got so many chances. Wagner, I don't know what he had on Wagner. I don't know what his love child or something, I don't know. But it was just strange that he played every single week. And I had a big Town fan, very vocal on Twitter, and he was saying, but he does a great job. He takes the ball from the defensive third to the attacking third so quickly. Yes, but then he gives the ball back to them, and they're attacking again instead of a 5-yard pass to the right across into the box. And for me, it was just too many times the wrong decision. And you're 27, 28 years old. And you look like young lads, and people say, oh, he's only young. No, he's 27, 28. He's a winger. You're in the twilights of your career when you're getting towards your 30s as a winger, and you still haven't learned to give the ball simple now and again and keep possession of the ball.
No, I agree. He's very much a playground player, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was. It was one of them, one man Wembley. You can't get the ball off him, and that's it. When you did, he didn't always track back either. And his work ethic when he felt like it was great. And I'm sure he's a decent lad, but I don't care if he's a decent lad. I'd rather he was a nightmare and go out and win the game for you every single week. And it's just it was for me. It's the consistency at that level. If we're still League One and he's playing with me, you know what I mean, League One there and mediocre wages, and you know what I mean. The chairman at the time still wasn't Ken Davies, still wasn't putting the money in. Yeah, you'd forgive him. You know what I mean, like a Kamara or something. Like you'd forgive him the misplaced pass, the shot that ends up in the car park. But when you play in Premier League football on a lot of money a week, I know you shouldn't bring money into it, but it does count. You should be able to make more right decisions than wrong decisions.
It's good to see you're over it, Matt.
I know.
I'm gonna say I thought there's a couple of buttons I could press might get Matt going, and I thought Rajiv Van La Parra will be one of them for sure.
It's always a good one. I've got these new ones.
Brady's coming in here.
No, I was just saying that I agree with you, Matt. Like, I think he was one of those players who, because we were so dire in the last season in the Premier League, because he wasn't playing, everyone was like, oh, we just need to get him in. I mean, I can't believe, apart from that goal he scored against West Brom, which, to be honest, I still couldn't believe that.
Yeah.
He didn't really do much, so I'm fully with you on that. And it was mad that he was playing for Luton, got hauled off, and then his next match is Bayern Munich in the Champions League. Fair play to him.
People, when I'm getting my abuse online and things like that, which I do enjoy, so I'll keep it coming. But they always hark back to that West Brom goal, or there was a cross that he put in, and they do the same with Kachunga with me and everything like that. Yeah, I agree. Big moments, but you need more big moments. When you're at that level of football, there needs to be more big moments, more big decisions, more you know what I mean, contribution towards the game on a Saturday afternoon than they're giving.
I'll tell you what, Matt, I'll give you my bank details after so you can send your money on. But the one thing I'd noticed with that kind of your job, and just obviously when I went in Spain for quite a bit, watching the games on iFollow, and even now, you know, kind of working a few Saturdays, but when you're commentating on the radio, it could be quite easy to get a lot of stuff wrong. I remember some commentators, you know, can name names and so-and-so passed to so-and-so, and obviously, because you're not there, you're kind of taking that as gospel and stuff. But honestly, mate, the stuff that I see on the iFollow and things, it's so accurate, and it's such a skill because it's not easy. And I just think it's with the iFollow now, and probably you're going to be coming into your own now with this new. I think it'll be closed doors and stuff. We'll be hearing probably a lot more of your commentary. I think there's kind of a bit more of a pressure on the commentators, really. I know you're doing it for your phone and love and what have you, but people are so critical now out there. So high in commentary, and I bet you probably get some Ramadotti online and stuff.
Oh, it's good. Yeah, it's good though. But you know what I mean. I got as a player of that, and you know, when people say they don't care and they go away and cry in a corner, it's like, I mean, I really don't care, because I'll take it on board what they're saying. Sometimes they're right. Sometimes I have called it wrong, and I've put my own personal stamp on it. But that's what I have to do. And the thing about me is I've got no agendas. I have no players. I don't dislike Rajiv Van La Parra at all. I don't dislike Kachunga, but I like, what is it, bloody blockbusters? Say what you say, not blockbusters, but the other one, catchphrase. Say what you see, and that's all I'll ever do. And I'll never go after someone without explaining why I think that player is either going to get praise or he's going to get hammered. And that's it. And footballers are there to be shot at. I'm there to be shot at. You know what I mean? And it's part and parcel. I enjoy it. It's definitely not for the money, I'll tell you that. You know what I mean? But it's something that I do enjoy. And things like these podcasts, and when you do my radio show and things like that, different opinions. Every single one of us are going to have different opinions on here about certain things. Obviously not about Van La Parra, but about other things as well. And that's what I really enjoy about the job.
Me and Cosy have had a few different opinions before. I can assure you that, Matt.
Yeah.
Was the media something you always wanted to get into after football? Was it always an ambition of yours, or did you kind of find yourself in it more by chance than anything else?
It was by chance, but it's definitely something. You know, anyway, anyone who knows me knows that I'm not the quietest person in the world. The wife's constantly complaining how loud I am, and you know, we never stop talking. And yeah, I always wanted to do it, and obviously Oggy gave me gave me that opportunity, and then Johnny's given me the opportunity when we were shown on Monday. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoy it. It's not easy. It's not easy to get into it. For me, it's just felt the right place at the right time. I left Halifax. You know what I mean? I got that one gig against Birmingham. Obviously, the what's his name? Regan. Kieran gave up after 9 years, as I was retiring from playing as well. And it was just the perfect storm, and it worked out great.
Tell you what, Matt, I'll never forget the phoning you did after the Sheffield Wednesday, the playoff first leg. And I remember
the first leg or the second leg.
First leg, I remember ringing up, and it were I think you were. To be fair, I think the majority of Liverpool fans probably drove away that afternoon thinking, that's it. We've probably missed this chance. And I remember kind of coming on with you saying it's not over and what have you. But I suppose the question to you after that, did you think we were kind of outdone that after that day? Could you see us still getting into the Premier League from that first leg? How did you see it from then?
Yeah, I did, because I remember Danny Ward coming back, and he was excellent in those playoff games as well. And you just felt they never scored goals. You know what I mean? A lot of the passing, a lot of thinking, then you're thinking sometimes it wasn't always fantastic to watch, but Sheffield Wednesday are just one of those clubs who'll just spend loads of money, buy all the players, you know what I mean, and ponce around like they do. But Huddersfield already had something. They had, a real character about them and a way of playing it, which wasn't maverick. It was a way of playing. It wasn't always fantastic to watch, but it was going to get there. The Wembley one was for me. I just felt that Reading were going to hit one off someone's arse or something and really bring the party crashing down. That was my fear. Getting past Sheffield Wednesday, I thought, yeah, it's going to happen. Even my response when, Gareth Jones filmed it after the second leg when I not realised they'd scored the winning penalty. Wembley scared me more than the playoff semi-final did.
What was it like, Matt, in the Premier League regarding the facilities? I always think there's a bit of snobbery in the Premier League. So, I mean, with the media, were you kind of, who are these kind of peasants from BBC leagues? Or what were the facilities like? Were you treated like kings? What was it like, the whole experience, mate, travelling away?
Oh, no. I was the snob. I stopped speaking to everyone when we got to the Premier League, and that was it. Phone numbers cancelled, phone wiped. No, it was great.
No wheeling, yeah. That's the fun that you want to stop talking about.
Yeah. No, delete. No, it was great. Everyone treated you really well. Everyone on the doors. I can't think of a single club. I don't like going to Anfield. I don't live because I'm a Manc and I go to Anfield. But the lounge is miles away from where you sit. Everyone's stony faced. I remember going there once and just no one wanted to help you. They made us stand outside. And it's like, it was gale force winds, it was freezing. You're thinking, just open the bleeding door. You know where we're going, you know what I mean? And places like that, but there's still magnificent stadiums, great occasions. Chelsea's food was just phenomenal. It was like some millionaire's buffet. Well, it was a billionaire's buffet. It was a Bromwich's buffet. But it was just amazing. Brighton, you know what I mean? All these clubs they just looked after you. Your seats were superb as well. And yeah, you really looked after.
Has there ever been any games where you've got a bit of stick? I'm sure I could be wrong here, but you get a bit of. Well, he did at Sheffield Wednesday, didn't he? But are you kind of near the fans in a lot of the grounds? And I don't know if Town have scored. It's like, are you getting it and stuff? Is there any occasion?
Everton, there's another one. Going to sound really bad now. I'm just going straight for the Scousers, aren't they? But Everton, you sat virtually in the crowd, so they're right behind you. The geezer didn't want to give us the Wi-Fi code for some weird reason. You know what I mean? Behind us, like it's some state secret. You crammed in tiny, and they're all behind you. And I remember them scoring, this fella staring me out and thinking, what are you doing? I know I'm sat down, but you can see that I'm about 6'3", and I've got a face looks like I'm not a very happy person right now. So don't be staring at me like that. You know what I mean? It was ridiculous and so aggressive around you. So that was a peculiar place to work. And yeah, some of them, I think. There was one down south as well. I can't remember where it was, and they were right in front, and they were looking at us as if we had scored the goal, and they were taking it personally because Huddersfield had scored, and as if like we were to blame for that because obviously they didn't recognise us because we just turned up as the away team press. And yeah, there's some very strange fans that turn and look at the local media as if we're to blame for what's going on.
How did you find it last season, Matt? Because us as fans, honestly, mate, I'll be honest, I watched at Anfield at half-time, at Chelsea at half-time, and at Spurs at half-time. I had no interest. I'd had enough. I knew we'd lost when other teams scored. I'd lost so much interest. I mean, obviously, you were still kind of living the dream as a summariser, but Did you find it kind of hard to really get into last season? Do you kind of feel it like we do as a fan, or was it just a job for you and just rocked up at the stadium?
No, I felt it as well. You've got to, you're trying to stay enthusiastic, you're trying to stay positive, but there's only so many positive things you can say about a team that's not touched the ball for like 40 minutes of a game. We've not had a shot on target for 3 games. And that's where a lot of my criticism, I think, from certain people came as well, because I couldn't find a positive. You know, the narrative of the game was the fact that Town weren't scoring, they weren't shooting, they weren't passing very much. A lot of players looked like they down tools a little bit as well, which was really disappointing to see, where you've still got your Schindlers who are diving in there and giving everything for the team. And you've got other people who are not quite, you know what I mean, giving 100% during the game. So it was quite tough to give people a show that they wanted to listen to. But they didn't want to just switch off and go, right, here we go, done again. That's us, we're not listening. We'll listen to the after show, like sometimes like a bit like the, you know, I mean, updates at the weekend. Now everyone just wants to listen to what the press are going to say and the negative stuff that comes with it. No one wanted to listen to the games as much because it was Groundhog Day.
What did you make of the Wagner thing, Matt? Because I remember from listening to you, I think you felt he should have kind of maybe moved off that season. I think you were I'm not saying calling for his head, but I think you were the one that kind of felt it was over long before he kind of walked away. How did you kind of see that change? And obviously the Siewert was a disaster. How did you see all that at the time?
Well, I just saw what happened with the, the players that were brought in and things like that, and the way they were playing, and it was just, it just wasn't right. As I said, there was no goals, there was no crosses, there was no shots, there was no change in there. There were certain players like Jan Siewert and stuff who were just getting way too much game time. I never would have called for his head because he had to go on his own accord or make that decision, or it was someone else who was going to make that decision. It was never going to be me. But it just looked like it was a bit stale, if that's the word. Is that the right word to use? A bit stale. It just wasn't working anymore. All the great stuff had happened. That was in the past. Football moves on very quickly, as we all know. Well, not at the minute, but football does move on very quickly, and you've got to move with the times. And I don't think he did.
Do you never think we left Stamford Bridge in many ways from that celebrations from staying up, and then? I remember the start of that season, and it was like the season starts next week. It seemed to be the season was starting next week until it was over. Do you think it was more of the whole thing coming out of the club, maybe, or as opposed to just being driven by the manager, or do you think they just expended so much energy on staying up? The next season, everybody was just shattered, from pretty much the exertions of the first season.
Yeah, I think there's definitely an element of that because you know yourself the highs of that Chelsea game. I still remember, Lossell's save, he tipped it onto the post and everything there. It was a magnificent night. It was a warm night. It was, me and the team were there and we were watching it. We're really close to the pitch as well at Stamford Bridge. We're virtually on the pitch where we're sitting doing the commentary from, and it was huge. And I remember, so going back to a slight mind, when I was on loan at Carlisle, we won a game that kept them in the division. 3 games to go. I'm on loan from Bolton. I've got years left on my contract. You know what I mean? It's like I'll just go back there if they got relegated or this and that. But we stayed up and I was drained. I couldn't even have a beer. You know what I mean? Because I was that drained mentally. And I felt a little bit like that again after the Chelsea game. About an hour later, you're high as a kite, but you're a bit numb because it was fantastic and it was this massive high. And you're right. I don't think they ever massively recovered from that. And obviously, the recruitment that came in that season, there was no real lift, and you needed some. I think they needed a big name, a real big statement in that pre-season to give the club something else to talk about apart from the Chelsea game, apart from the Man City game. Yeah, the Arsenal Wenger's last game, so it was massive because Arsene Wenger's a massive Premier League person. Watch Man City pick up the trophy. You know what I mean? You've got the only team not to concede at the Etihad that season, which was amazing. You've got the Chelsea game. You know what I mean? All these highs, and there needed to be something else. And I just don't think they went around about things the right way in the off season.
Tell us some players that you really rated during that Wagner period, because obviously everyone focuses on your Rajiv Van Leparas and the contentious things, but there must be some players that way you thought. And Aaron Moy's obviously going to come up because if it doesn't, I think he, for me, is the best player that I've seen play for Huddersfield ever. Sorry, Matt, but he was a very special player. But there must have been some players, maybe some ones that maybe the average fan doesn't see. Someone who does a particular job. Like Chris Lerver, for example, was probably probably didn't get as much credit. Or
It was excellent. I mean, a lot of players when they came in that promotion season, I don't think there was anyone that let the club down at all. I don't think there was anyone that came into the team and you gone, well, he's a real weak spot. He's struggled. Obviously, for me, Schindler's always going to be one net up the top as well. And yeah, he's not scoring loads of goals. He's not the quickest player in the world, but well, he's actually quicker than he looks. Sometimes it looks like he's towing a caravan, but he still seems to get there, make that challenge, win that header. That first season, I'm just trying to think of the first season. Kuchunga, that first season, he was always at the back post, always that man when the cross came into the box. He was there for that header at the back post, or to put it back into the area, to put it into the back of the net. There was different players that, you know what I mean, within that squad. Aaron Moy obviously was superb. Jonathan Hogg, again, he split decision last season, I think. Oh, well, this season. We're not finished yet, are we? I think he split decision more than he's ever done. But his contribution in the time I've been at the club as well, doing what I've been doing has been, you know what I mean, superb. Danny Ward made a big contribution. There was times where I just thought he's a bit weak off his line. He's a little bit weak in there. But in the big games, especially the playoff games, he was excellent.
Who's the best keeper? Sorry, because who's the best keeper then that you've seen at Huddersfield? We've had some good ones, you know, Lursell, Ward, probably not Jed Steer. I think he was maybe a little bit before.
Phil Senior.
Good lad, Phil.
Well, Phil always puts himself on it on my Twitter somehow. He always seems to find himself on there, or he's got a fan that puts himself on there. No, I'm a big Lussell fan. I like Lussell. I think he's a quality goalkeeper. He's calming. Grabara, bit young, bit great. You know, thingy behind the ears still for me. Not quite there with his distribution as well, which is massive. Danny Ward again did really well, but I think it was his first real season playing. Kept, you know what I mean? He did well, got promoted. He got promoted to the Premier League, so he did really well. But for me, in the time I've been covering, it's been Jonas Lussell that I think's been the top man.
Because he gets a little bit of stick, does Jonas Lussell, from certain sections of Town fans. But I agree. I think
all goalkeepers do.
Yeah, an outstanding one.
What do they know?
Underappreciated, aren't we, Matt? That's what we are.
We've all been.
Where do you see us now, Matt? I'd like to get your take on it. I thought we were down, mate, when Danny Cowley took over. I thought we were finished. Spirit had gone. The players were not there. Yeah, I didn't see us come back from one point in whatever. So to be where we are now, God, thinking about how long ago when we played is kind of a real achievement. What did you think, mate? Did you think we were finished, or did you think we could still get out of it?
As soon as Siewert went, I knew there'd be an upturn because there were some decent players there. There were some players that shouldn't be there. You know what I mean? Again, I move back to Dave Carey's and people like that who just, you know what I mean, Mbenzas, who just crazy signings. But no, as soon as Siewert went, because, you know, behind the scenes and it wasn't working very well. You could see on the pitch it wasn't working very well. Just anyone with a knowledge of English football and actually working with adult footballers was always going to, you know, make things a little bit different. And again, Jan Siewert, sure he's a lovely fella, like everyone says he is. Again, you don't care. It's about results and getting the team away from where they are. Danny Cowley ruffled a few feathers as well, and you know what I mean. I think they will take the club in the right direction. Just
to add to that point, though, Matt, do you think Jan Siewert was a really sort of bizarre appointment? It seemed like Town were just going back to the well a little bit and trying to recreate a formula from when maybe they were sort of a bottom end Championship club. Obviously, we don't want to slate anybody too much, but do you think it was a case of maybe they should have taken a little bit more time and just gone and obviously we wouldn't have maybe not have the Cowleys now, but do you think at that point it was a really sort of strange decision and they should have acted more like a Premier League club, if you like, and gone and got somebody a little bit more experienced to guide us through?
Yeah, definitely. And I made no bones about it at all on my commentary on my show. I thought it was a crazy decision. You know what I mean? I don't see myself as an old man, but when they brought someone in even younger than me to come into a struggling Premier League team, you're thinking, what the hell is going on here? And then, you know what I mean? You try to Google him. You can't even Google the man, you know what I mean? Because you don't know who he is. And then a man from Wakefield turns up and everyone thinks it's bleeding Wakefield. You know, it just didn't start right. And yeah, it was a bit of fun and a bit of a joke and whatever his name is from Wakefield comes in. No, that's crap. You've just had one of the worst Premier League, you know what I mean, seasons of all time, top bottom 4 or 5. And then you bring in a youth team manager who's not, let's say, okay, it's not mega important, but not played the game at all, but then not managed at a men's level really either. And I don't think he was a particularly brilliant under-23s manager, in all honesty, as well, with the results that he got, you know what I mean, at Dortmund as well. So I just thought it was just an easy story, you know, and bring someone in, nice and easy, probably give him a few grand a week where you'd be paying someone else a lot more. And I just thought, no, that's not right. And it's not going to get this group of underachievers to anywhere where they need to be. It was too big a risk, and it turned out it was. One win in, 18, 19? And yeah, it wasn't enough. Luckily, the new chairman come in. You know, Phil come in, obviously Dean was quite poorly for a while, but the new chairman's come in and gone, bang, I've seen enough. Time to go. And he made a really brave early decision.
Sorry, Cos, I feel like I hijacked your point a bit there.
No, it's fine. I think Brady's coming in.
Sorry, yeah. I was going to say, do you think Jan deserved it at the start of the season? Because obviously, I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but I don't think he was we can all agree, he wasn't right putting in the Prem. But did you think he deserved a crack at the Championship, or were you just, no, someone else?
He should never have got the job, and he had to have a crack at it. He had to have pre-season because they'd given him the job, whatever length of contract he'd signed. They brought him in. It wouldn't be fair once they've given him the job, made that decision, not to give him. You know what I mean? Because he could have turned out to be the next best thing. You know what I mean? He could have had that pre-season. He could have brought his players in, and we'd gone, bloody hell, they found another one. But it didn't work out like that, and it was too big a gamble. The odds were just stacked against him right from the beginning.
Just to come back to the Cowleys, you mentioned that you think they'll take us forward. How far do you think they can take us? What's realistic?
Well, again, we go back to your Jacko days, your Johnny Ritchie days. It depends what the club give him. You know what I mean? The chairman is backing him at the minute, and he is bringing players in. I think we need to get this season finished, get to pre-season, see what sort of players they're going to bring in. If they can handle the bigger players, you know what I mean? I thought it was brilliant what they did with, you know what I mean, with the players that they just left out of the squad. I thought it was fantastic because it was basically everyone they spent money on. It was just said, we're not bothered, get yourselves off on loan. You know what I mean? You're not in the plans. It takes quite a big manager and a big character to do that, and especially coming from Lincoln to Huddersfield Town, a Premier League club from last season. So they've got the steel, they've got the balls. You can see that. It's just if they've got enough knowledge and enough know-how to get the best out of the players they've got right now and keep taking the club forward. I think they will. I do think they're going to make a few enemies along the way, because I watch them on the touchline, and they're not the calmest pair of brothers in the world, and I don't think they're quite bothered who they upset as well. But again, it doesn't matter. You're getting results and winning games. Who gives one?
Do you think there's any way back for Terence Congolo, or do you think his bridges have completely been burnt?
Burnt, and for me, just get rid. You're not going to change his character now. He's not that young, and well, no matter how old you are, to be fair. And he's shown that he's got no interest at all in playing for Huddersfield. It's all about London. It's all about Premier League, and that's not what you want Huddersfield Town. It's not what you want any sort of club. And you don't want someone strolling round. I know he's not a fantastic trainer as well. You know what I mean? You can't have characters like that. Not when you're trying to drive forward. You know what I mean? You can't pick and choose when you want to be a professional footballer. You either are one, or you get your bags and go somewhere else.
Moving it forward, Matt, to where we are today, I'm trying to get your kind of ex-player out on. So much talk of furloughing, 50% cuts. It seems to be every day. It seems to be getting worse. Some of the stories and stuff. Where do you kind of stand with it all at the moment in regarding footballers? Should they be thinking differently now? Are we in crisis, or do you think some of it's a bit exaggerated? It's a bit of a doomsday scenario, because it does seem really serious reading some of the stuff and listening to some of the people who would know.
Oh, it's not great. Obviously, I think Liverpool and Tottenham were a disgrace in what they did. You know what I mean? Going straight to furloughing their staff. Obviously, I've got staff who I'm still paying. You know, we still haven't got this furlough sorted out yet either. It's a long process. But you're talking billionaires taking the money out when you've got, as I say, your League One, your League Two clubs who are going to struggle. You know what I mean? I know you get 80% of your wages up to £2,500. A lot of League One, League Two footballers are on decent wages, but they're also trying to pay the mortgages off nice and quick, because they've got quite big mortgages to try and get them banged off, because they don't earn the money the Premier League managers, Premier League players earn. You've got the chairmans as well, you know what I mean, got their businesses, they've not got money coming through the door. It's a really, really tricky, horrible time, and we've seen the Nationwide League of knock the season on the head. Got some of our teams, you know, in local teams, Halifax now, who are hoping to get back into the Football League. That would have been massive, absolutely huge for Halifax Town. And now we don't know where anyone's futures lie.
Do you think they get a bad press, Matt, footballers? I mean, obviously there's a lot of the Premier League, kind of team headed by Jordan Henderson that came in eventually, and I think they were doing something anyway. But it did seem to me that footballers, as soon as I forgot what their name was, it's like hammered it, and it all got a bit ugly. But do you think this could be one of the moments where people kind of fall away from football? Do you think it'll all be back all right once we get back to normal?
Now we're talking people's passions, people's lives. It's football's huge, and yeah, it's not as big as what's going on in the world right now, but people need the football, they need the sport. I do find it weird that nobody goes after golfers or Lewis Hamilton or people like that who, you know what I mean, who English but don't pay tax in this country, whereas footballers are paying 40, 50% tax. You know what I mean? Constantly every single week and put a lot in. And things happen very quickly. Yes, things have been put in place now, they're giving money. But for me, footballers, if they're giving their money to make sure that all the staff of the football club are getting paid, then that's great from them. But again, you're talking about billionaire owners who should be paying their own staff, and then footballers do what they need to do. There shouldn't be any pressure on anyone to use their own personal anything to give away. Basically, it's their decision. If they want to do something, great. If not, I don't understand how everyone can really be judged on that.
Do you think we'll still have 71 clubs left, mate, by the end of it all?
I think it'll be close. I do think there is packages in place, though. You know what I mean? I think the Premier League have got something like £1.5 billion sat in the bank account to help clubs out as well. And I think the money is going to have to trickle down, and they're going to have to save. They have to make sure they save clubs, because we can't have this country's, magnificent, footballing structure that we're really proud of going to the dogs when there's more than enough money in football to save every single football club.
I think some of the stuff that's happening in the community, there's been a lot of chairmen and stuff that I've watched this week. This is not about just the football, it's about the community. There's Town Foundation and stuff. I think that's underestimated because all you ever hear is Premier Leagues and Premier League that. But the guy at Burton today, the chairman, was kind of saying, look, we help the community, and if we go, then, there's so much that's going to fold in the town and everything. And it does my head in, Matt, because it just seems to be Premier League. I know it's the pinnacle, but so, Berry went, and I think it was a scandal, to be honest with you.
It was a scandal, yeah.
They've gone now, and it doesn't matter. But if we lost a big hit in the Premier League, there'd be people talking. But it's really sad. People got to look bigger.
But even the Premier League clubs, you know what I mean? They not all of them start in the Premier League. They work their way there, your Bournemouth and that, and they employ a lot of people. They've got fans who come. They only get 12,000, but the 12,000 lower fans that turn up. You know what I mean? And then you say even your Port Vales, your Cambridges, everything. It is a community, and they employ a lot of people. People, okay, yeah, we're in the middle of a world crisis, but people love the football. They were born like you. You were born into your football. It's a major part of your life. It's a major part of your build up, your mental build up as well, and what you do to relieve your stress, what you do to enjoy your life. Why should it all be taken away because people say, "Oh, it's just kicking a ball"? It's not just kicking a ball. It's a lot more than that.
How do you think you'd have coped, mate, in that situation now where you're in a lot of the guys saying I find it really difficult because you can train a little bit and what have you, but there's nothing to focus on like as in a game. How do you think you would have coped with it if you'd have still been playing?
It'd have been tough because it's the focus. It's what I struggled when I finished playing football for about 6-7 months. I really struggled because my structure was gone. Nobody was weighing me anymore. No one was telling me I had to weigh, when to sleep, when to play. I didn't have 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon anymore. And I was late 30s with businesses, but it was very, very hard. You know what I mean? You eat a bit more, you drink a little bit more. Do we need to go to the gym? Well, no one's telling me about the gym, so what am I going to the gym for? And now these lads are going to be sat at home 4, 5, 6 weeks in. Yeah, they've got the regimes, they've got the heart monitors, and everything's going back to the club and all that. But how much are they actually putting in? How hard are they running? How much are they doing it? What time are they getting out of bed? You know what I mean? What they're doing on a Saturday afternoon? Now it's really tough because you are, you know what I mean, like a robot when you're a footballer. Everyone thinks, yeah, it is a great life and playing football is magnificent. And yes, you get paid decent money and everything else. No matter what level, you still get decent money according to the average man. But you are a robot. You are structured to a T. You them calipers go on your belly. You know what I mean? You're on them scales. You're doing the running tests. You're doing the jumping tests. You're having to, you know what I mean? Every single day has got to be your best. Otherwise, you're out of a job and you're gone. And suddenly, it's like you just sat at home now. June, don't forget as well, July the 1st is coming up. Contracts end of June, 1st of July. There's going to be lads there who are thinking, I'm going to pay my mortgage, I'm paying my bills. I can't go and prove, you know what I mean, I'm worthy to be at this football club anymore because there's nowhere to prove it. Are they going to give me another year, 2 years? It's,
how much humus in it, mate? And more importantly as well, Oggy, because Oggy is like, people want the fix for you two. It's like a medicine on a Saturday. I was talking to Johnny the other day, and he's kind of a chill back guy. He was like, he'll come back whenever it's ready to come back. But how much are you missing the Buzz? And Oggy, have you had chats with him? How's he feeling it? Because I bet he's really struggling. I know he likes, his football and everything.
Well, he does. We've been out. Obviously, he's been coaching me into my cycling. I'm supposed to be on my way to Hull. I'm supposed to be in Hull today on the Pedal for Pounds. I think that was this week. So we've been out talking a lot. And obviously we can't do that anymore, so it's phone calls. And yeah, you can tell he's wanting to get back out again. He's wanting to get back into his football. He's still working TV-wise and doing other stuff at the studio. But yeah, you can tell he sounds a bit lost. And I think whereas Oscar was dragging him to the football pitch to do the training, I think Oggy's now dragging him to the football pitch to do some training and doing his commentary on that, I think. And yeah, I just need to get back and, get talking about stuff again and just... get back into the stadium, get back into the studio, get back doing my homework. I have my structure for my build-up to my shows and everything, and there's just nothing to go at the minute.
Feels like we're miles off getting back though, Matt. I don't know if I'm just...
I didn't until this last 2-3 days ago, I didn't feel like it. The last couple of days, I think we're further and further away than we have been. And listening to all the Nicola Sturgeon today and everything in Scotland and that, she's the most pessimistic person in the world at the minute. And I do watch the updates most days, and I was quite confident that we were maybe 4 or 5 weeks away from maybe the club behind closed doors. I feel like that's just getting further and further away. Because don't forget, you need pre-season as well. You have to have 3 weeks for pre-season, getting back on the football pitch. So that's going to be an important part of it.
So Matt, the FA and the Premier League come and they say, right, Matt Glennon, we think you've got the knowledge and the experience to guide us through this. What would be the way that you would, how would you do this now? So the football, does it restart? Does it finish? Do we null and void it? Do we go points per game? Like you said, players' contracts are out on June 30th. I think I saw somewhere 50% of League 1 and 2 contracts are done on June 30th. Employment law means it's not that easy just to say, all right, we'll just renew everyone's contract for a few months. Players might not want that. Football clubs might not want that because they're obviously short of money. They're running out of cash. So they're thinking, well, we don't want to renew that guy because we could use that couple of grand a week elsewhere. We're paying, the ticket office, etc. So there seems to be no ideal scenario. What would you do to, I'd call an end to the football season now. But what would you do? Would you try and play it or?
I know I'd still try and play it all the way up until it was impossible. As long as we can get, even if it doesn't finish till, say, mid-August, the footballers aren't going to need as much time off as usual. They're not going to need the 5-6 weeks off because they've had 5 or 6 weeks off. You know what I mean? So, and there's only 8-9 games left. You know what I mean? You play Saturday, Tuesday. You know what I mean? Okay, you're flogging them a little bit like horses, but you know what I mean? That's part of that's what the Championship is anyway. So it just means the Premier League are going to have to do it and suck it up, and that's it. And you know what I mean? Although it would be slightly funny if Liverpool didn't win the league this year with 22 points clear. I'm not going to lie about that. And you know what I mean? Obviously, you fellas would be laughing if Leeds didn't go up as well.
Well, you've got Noel's number. You can pass it on if that happens.
Yeah. But for me, until it is just ridiculous, where it's so unsafe, where it can't happen, and then I think you go points per game. And I think you do it that way because you can't just say null and void. There's been too much work. We're only 9. If there was only half the season gone, then knock it on the head. But we're nearly done. We're nearly finished. You can't just be
Barrow. Poor old Barrow.
I know that's what I'm saying. Barrow as well. It's got to be a points per game something. It's got to be like that. But for me, you can go. You can go a couple more weeks yet before making a decision.
Okay. Would you sort of looking forward as well? Because he's mentioned we might lose some. Hopefully we don't. Lose any football league clubs. Would you maybe look at restructuring the leagues? Making lower down a bit more regionalised, or do you just think we should just leave it as is? So it's not a perfect time to think about the future of the game.
No, not at all. Football, this country is fantastic. I've been involved in every single level, from Premier League all the way down to Conference North and below that. I played a couple of games with Martin McIntosh at Buxton as a favour for him when I'd finished and hung up my boots. No, because these are people's clubs. As we've mentioned this already. Just because you don't support Manchester United, the biggest club in the world, doesn't mean you care any less. About Barrow, because you've been watching Barrow since you were since you were born, your dad took you to that first game. You know what I mean? It means just as much to that small set of fans as it does to that massive set of fans. And there's enough money in this in this world of football for our clubs to survive through this. Yes, it might mean some landouts from other clubs at this moment in time. That's what you got to do. They keep talking about this football family. Let's actually see it working for a change.
When you think about the money that was spent on Diakabi and Benza and what that could do, it just makes you sick.
That could have kept Bury in existence for a few years. Let's put it that way. No, for me that was just lunacy. I don't know who watched them. I don't know if someone watched them, and I don't know, mistaken identity. I don't know, but I would love to see the DVDs that were watched to then say, yeah, let's go and get them players.
I mean, people have been talking about the football eating itself and it's going to implode. Maybe is this the moment? Will the fees, the wages and stuff? It'd be really interesting to see where it goes. But
wage cap.
Yeah.
The wage cap. Championship are talking about it. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts as well, and a bit of talk sport when about doing the garden, doing my running and stuff. And I think a wage cap's going to come in. Maybe Championship though. So it was funny. There was a chairman of, I think all the chairmen got together, and someone said £8,000 a week Championship wage cap, because that's, and amazingly that was 6, because I think Luton's top earner is 6. I thought, bloody hell, there's people in the Championship who get that as an appearance fee. You know what I mean? Never mind the wage. That's ridiculous. It's going to have to, I think, League 1, League 2, a realistic wage cap, or someone's talking about a bit like the American way as well, where you have your players' wage cap, but you can have maybe 3 that can earn a little bit more or something like that.
Marquee players like rugby league, yeah.
Yeah, a bit like rugby league. You can have a couple of key players where you can go a little bit above it. I don't know if that would breed, you know what I mean, a little bit of jealousy.
Resentment, yeah.
It usually does. If you sign a player, a striker, and you give him double what your defender's on, but if your striker's scoring you 30 goals and you're getting promoted and everyone's getting, you know what I mean, success with it, no one cares.
Do you think if you cap the Championship like that, say, argument's sake, we'll say £6,000 a week, and the Premier League's, would you cap the Premier League as well? Or because that would, I think that'd create a huge gap, wouldn't it, between the Premier League and the Championship for teams going up and down?
Yeah, they would. You know, I mean, these players in the Championship, I think, upwards of £50,000-60,000 a week still. So even talking about 6s is just a ridiculous number to talk about, and I'm not sure where that came from. But yeah, I think something that needs to happen, because for me, your top players can earn as much as they want. I don't care. It's your mediocre. It's when your mediocre's earning £60,000 a week and never plays or doesn't contribute anything towards English football or the game, but is walking away with £60,000 a week. That's for me performance-based, a little bit more performance-based wage. I think when I was growing up at Bolton, we were on crap money, but we could earn 3 times it by just sitting on the bench. You know what I mean? And then you'd get your bigger contracts and your appearances and your clean sheets, and things were chucked in there. You know what I mean? It's got to be more performance-based, I think.
So obviously, they say Chelsea, they're paying kids £25,000 a week, taking them from other clubs at 16, 17, offering 20. I think Izzy Brown was one of the ones I don't know if it was 25, but they took a lot of, they gave him a lot of money, gave him Mercedes, got a boot deal. It seems to be that football's gone a little bit crazy, hasn't it, with the top clubs? But I suppose the point I was trying to make is, would the status quo then ever change? Because I think the Premier League, by looking at their the media sort of in the Premier League is quite snobbish. If you've ever listened to me moan about it on our podcast before, you'll know that I'm not a big fan of, the sort of a higher end media, because they all they do is talk about the top 6, and what that does is then it breeds more. It sort of breeds ears towards the top 6, and that's all people are interested in if that's all you talk about. So, do you think sort of doing this would then kind of keep a status quo? And for me, football would be boring. If the same 4 or 5 clubs were at the top every season. I look at clubs. I look at like Scotland. I think calling Scotland a farmers' league's really sort of offensive to Scottish football, because I think it's better than what people give it credit for. But Celtic win it every year. You look at Portugal and you get the same 1 or 2 clubs. Bayern Munich win Germany every year. PSG most years in France. Do you think there'd be a danger whereby it's just the same stuff happening every year?
I think there can be changes made. Definitely can be changes made. And with the amount of players that they can bring in as well, loaning out 45 players, you know what I mean, and things like that. I think they need to do something to make those players maybe think, well, you know what, I'm not going to sign for Chelsea £25,000 a week and do that. Or they're not allowed to sign for Chelsea £25,000 because Chelsea have already got 20 under 23s there, and they have to go to Brentford or Huddersfield or somewhere else. And they've got to go and apply the trade because they've saturated their squad and saturated what they can spend, and then maybe players start after looking further afield. I mean, I know exactly what Izzy Brown's talking about, because when I was on £40 a week, then £41.50 a week when I was 16, 17 in the Premier League as well. Bloody hell, and that's how much it's coming. What, 25 years, £40, £41.50 plus expenses, and that was a Premier League club as well. And now you're talking 4-year contract, 25 grand a week. He's never got to work again. You know what I mean? He can sit on that tight hamstring of his for as long as he possibly wants, because what's it matter? I think performance-based, or once you've got, there's not how many players, you can't have any more. You've got to either get rid permanently, or that's it. You're done.
Do you think it'll ever happen?
Am I right? No, I was going to ask Matt, kind of in similar vein, talking about caps. Obviously, goes without saying, but the football and all the finances. Do you think there'll be like a transfer cap in terms of fees? Because obviously before, I think, like you had a Sombalonga in the Championship going for like 12, 15 million. Do you think it'll kind of force, a cap on transfer fees, because they were getting quite ridiculous? Because obviously, like you talked about Liverpool and Tottenham making the decision to furlough staff. If they're saying we can't pay these guys, but then we can spend 50 odd million on a backup squad player, do you see that kind of going that way? Or? Well,
to go back to that, I would ban both them clubs from signing players in transfer window, because if you can't pay the staff, you can't go and spend £70 million on a right back. You know what I mean? So for me, that's an easy one.
No, I agree.
I'm a bit like Cosy said as well before. I don't think masses is going to change. I think there'll be a short change, and everyone will be going round, and everyone will get the moral high ground and everything else. But everyone will get bailed out, and it'll go back to normal. I think a lot of things will just go back to normal once we're allowed out of our houses and allowed into football stadiums and everything else. I think the only thing that might change is we might be able to get more games on TV. There might be more streaming of games, legal streaming of games, than there is now. I think that might be the only thing, and you might see less of a crowd in there because of the fact it'll be easier to get hold of on the internet. But I honestly don't think mass will change, because football fans, they're tribal. You know what I mean? As soon as they're allowed back in there, they'll be racing back to that ground. You know what I mean? Eating that pie, having that pint, and screaming and shouting, then ringing me up after the game and having a go at what I've said. You know what I mean? It'll be exactly the same, I think, once we get back to normal.
I think that's the worry, Matt, just bigger than football. But I think once the lockdown comes over, there's going to obviously be a phased approach. But I don't think people are. But you've seen it now, mate. You were on about before the supermarket, people going crazy. People are just humans, and I just, I suppose it's bigger than a kind of football chat. But
the fear is, if Liverpool win the league, Leeds get promoted, behind closed doors, those fans are still going to be rushing to them stadiums. I think that's one of the considerations. I think that's what people are worried about. The fact you ain't going to keep them fans from going to celebrate with them players. You're going to have to play behind closed doors at a secret location. It's not going to have to be that people will come out of their houses.
Madness.
I say that's an interesting point. Do you think attendances might slump as people might get sort of fear of crowds? I don't know, that's probably a correct terminology, but that could also potentially have an impact, couldn't it? Whereby
it could. But
people are less likely.
But as long as the clubs have control of how much they charge and how much streaming, and it's not just left to Sky, and clubs can take a little bit of control of the money themselves for people watching the games at home. It might hopefully not be as big a hit, but that's not really what we want. We want people in the stadium. Nothing better, like I was talking about Ibrox before, nothing better than that screaming. I'll go back to the Watford game again. I'd speak about that one because my daughter was there. They'd won a competition for the new Huddersfield Town song from Hepworth School, and it was a dire game. But in scored, was it 92nd minute? And the place just went bang through the roof. And everyone forgot about the 92 crappy minutes that we'd watched because they just won 1-0. And it was just absolutely amazing. And you need the people in the stadium to get that atmosphere.
I watched that Valencia-Atalanta game, the one just before the lockdown, and I find myself kind of losing interest in it. And there was another game in Spain I watched, and there were no one in. And you kind of find, just because there's no crowd noise and stuff, players shouting. I don't think people are going to realise that much. How much I think you'll lose some people from having that attention span because it's just totally different. Where I think we saw a little bit back in the day in Europe when we were getting banned from kind of stadiums and stuff. But it really is. Some people just think, God, I'll come back when there's crowds in again.
I remember playing at Darlington's new ground when it first opened, $20,000 seater with 2,000 people there. I played at Hampden Park in front of 100 people in a pre-season friendly. And my God, it's like a funeral home.
Was that against Queen's Park, was it?
On that, Queen's Park, yeah. It was a pre-season friendly for Falkirk. And yeah, it was horrendous. Beautiful stadium, don't get me wrong, it was great to play there. But when there's no one there and you can hear some whistling, it's not very good.
So, no, thanks for your time, Matt, and for coming on tonight. It's been class, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Matt.
So much appreciate, Matt. Great to speak to you.
Yeah. Anytime you fancy coming on, just let us know. It's been great to have you on and great to shoot with you. So thanks a lot, Matt. Thank you to everyone for listening. And that's this episode. Thank you.
Cheers.
Oh, what a night. Late in May in 2017, Schindler scored, it was a heaven dream. What a feeling, what a night. Oh, what a night. Wagner singing, we are Premier League. The greatest sight St. George's Square did see. What an evening, what a night. Oh, I got a funny feeling when he walks and a fence, and then the commentator yelled he takes that chance. Oh, what a night. Lost so safe and mesmerizing me. Low charge and flattened all Chelsea. Stamford Bridge, oh what a night. Whoa, I got a funny feeling when he walks and a fence, and then the commentator yelled he takes that chance. Oh,